scrap guitars have now been recorded, and I have changed a couple of things. First thing that I did was I fixed the structure somewhere around here. For the fast riff, we go and do the bit on the 2nd and 3rd fret twice, then 7th and 8th fret twice, back to 2 and 3 twice, 7 and 8 once, then we do the outro lick to the chorus. That then of course leads us back into the big powerful variation of the main riff. But this is what we've got. I'll quickly show you this before we start working on the drums. This is just the main recording. I'm not happy with the guitar tone. I do want to change it and make it a little bit clearer, but we've got this one recording that goes all the way through. And then we've got the lead bit here, and with the lead bit I also wanted to add some extra rhythm guitar to really make that sound a lot bigger. And I added this. It is out and I didn't do it properly, but nonetheless. Actually sounds better than I remember. Then we go to the fast riff. And at the end, I've also thrown this on. I don't know if I'm keeping it, but I want to make it a little bit more intense. So just got that going on, and I think that could be okay. But we finish the song off like this. That just cuts away, okay? And that's the end of the song. So now that I've got all the scrap guitar, what I'm going to do is split this into different sections and just loop it over and over and over again, figure out what I want to do with the different parts of the drums. So we've got the main beat to do, the chorus beat to do, then we've got the build up, and I'm thinking maybe tom-toms, and then some other hi-hat beat for the fast riff, and then a variation of the main beat back into the normal beat for the end. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know how that's going to go, but let's move on to the drums. I want the kick to follow the riff in the verse and then just match the hi-hat and the something really basic like that. And then we can do a little breakdown for the lick and some kind of drum fill into the chorus. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but something groovy, hopefully. Then we've got the chorus progression, which I want to keep really simple. It just has a steady kick. I think you get the idea, really basic. Then for the outro lick, we can do if that fits, good. If not, we'll see. Then we've got the last little bits. We've got the build-up section where we're going to have some kind of tom-tom beat. And then we've got the really big build section of the build section, which has got the lead guitar scale, and that I want to do this. Not that exactly, but something very similar where we've just got that tom-tom to snare. And then from there we have our fast riff, and I want to match the snare on the big bits of the hits. So I want to keep that going with the open hi. It's something like that. I can't actually hear it in my head at the moment, but the first two snare hits match the riff, and then you hold off on where you'd put a third one, and then do like a semi-syncopated big hit like that, and then completely break all that down at the very end with the big strong riff. And there's our outro. The drums are finished and I'm excited. I'm not a drummer, so I did need to do this in a couple of different parts. I had the idea for this section here, which is the main beat and the chorus beat, and then I had an idea for the outro, so I recorded those first, and then I figured out what I wanted to do for these sections. Both of these are basically tom-tom drum beats. Anyway, I'll show you each of the different sections that we got. So the main beat is really basic, add that open hi-hat. Now for the lick, we've got a tiny little variation. Straight back into the riff, and we've got, where we have that little lick variation, we've got a drum fill into the chorus. I think it's here. It's an alright fill into that, which is really basic. That's supposed to be a flam. My drum kit isn't incredible. It's a pretty cheap one, so sometimes the snare doesn't register flams, and it also registers rim shots when it's not supposed to. I might want to go back and add in the flam, but I also might not need to. We'll see what I want to do. Anyway, let's keep moving forward. Then we have the outro lick. Straight back into the beat. And we go straight into the chorus. That's alright, that'll be hidden by all the guitars. Add the floor tom there. Now we move into the build-up section, and I wanted to do a tom-tom beat. Really basic, and then we have the lead guitar bit. Into it's just moving tom-toms and snare, and we have a really big drum fill mainly on the snare and increasing the kick. Anyway, then we go into this next beat, which I'm actually really happy with. It is done in two different parts. That, and then we also added on some of these toms. And together that can sound pretty good with the guitars, and then we just go through to the end of the song. Outro lick. And we've just got really straightforward drums. Another fill. A little bit more tom-tom heavy. Straight back into the beat. With all this done, what I actually want to do is, ignoring these, what I might do is, can I group you together? Group selected tracks, and we're just going to go scrap guitar. I can hide them like this, and we are going to keep the drums, and I'm going to add bass guitar. Now, a problem that I'm just now realizing is I didn't do a count in. I'm happy with the drums. Let's record the bass guitar right now, which means mix. I can add to this. I can go tuner, because I'm going to need one. Drag that on there. Now I've got a tuner, and I also want to add on some distortion, and I like this one, I think, on the low sensitivity. That's what I'm going to keep. So now I've got distortion on an amp and then a tuner, and once that is all done, I'm going to figure out my timing issue with needing a count in, and then I will record the bass, move on to the guitars, and we'll see where we end up tonight. I'm going to use my thumb pick so that I can have my finger picking for the verse. But when we get to the heavier stuff, I can switch to my pick. I've also figured out I click C to turn the metronome on and off, so I can start with it on, and then I just need to click C to turn it off. It's finished. I may have gotten a little ahead of myself last night and just completed the entire song. And here it is. It's my biggest project yet. Got 26 tracks and it's all my own stuff. And I've learned a whole bunch, so I'm really proud. I think it sounds great. It could be improved, but to make sure this video doesn't take 2 to 3 weeks to actually create, I've decided just to leave it as it is, and when I go to use it for my album, I'll just re-record it. All I want to do now is sort of just walk you through everything and talk about a few of the things that I've done. And we can start by getting rid of the scrap guitars. Don't need those. And also, my first attempt at the rhythm guitars. I didn't like the tone that I got, so I just decided to re-record all of that. And with all of that gone, we are left with 4 drum tracks, 2 bass and guitar rhythm tracks. Then we've got a couple of lead things, a little piano orchestral thing there. Then we have our Telecaster verse 3 or B section, which was originally the beginning of the build-up section. And then we have the build-up section here, which is the lead guitar scale thing. And I decided to stick with the major key because this one here is a little key change to the major key. So E instead of E flat right there. First we can look at the drums. This is our verse and chorus beat. There we go. So this goes verse, chorus, double verse, chorus, then verse, chorus. We have our chorus out that leads us into verse 3, the B section, which was again originally the build-up or the start of the build-up section. Now this is a tom-tom groove that I really like. Big drum fill at the end of this that leads us into the fast riff. 2 different drum tracks. First is a kick and snare pattern. And I added some overdubbed tom-toms on top of that. And then halfway through this, I also added in some extra kicks just to build the song even more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we finish on the main beat again and the outro. There we go. Next we can look at the bass guitars. I did this in 2 different parts because once I got rid of the scrap guitars, I didn't have a count in, so I didn't know when I was supposed to come in with the drums. So I had to play this first bit with the metronome, and then so that I was playing to the drums, I took it off for this next bit, and the easiest way to transition between the two was to finish the first bass guitar on the lick, and then that low D, and then I started this one on the octave D straight into the verse progression. I used finger picking for the verse, everything else I used my pick for. So it's a little bit different tone, a little bit heavier, and I think that sounds good. Before we talk about this, I want to look at the rhythm guitars. Similar problem with the counting in situation. I decided just to record the very first part of the riff, and then just immediately start the final track. Slide into that. And then I was able to use this track as my doubling for the chorus, and then the fast riff chorus and the last verse. I had a little bit of problems with the dynamics because I thought what we'll do is we'll start low, then we build in the build section to a little bit of a medium sound, and then we get to the fast riff. It's really big, powerful. We have the climax of the song up there. But when we got to the fast riff, it went up and then straight back down when it started. So I wanted to keep that building and make it sort of this upwards progression. So first thing I did was add in these extra kicks. Then to match that, I added in this second bass line, which is just D, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. After I did that, I added in this octave C triplet thingo that fades in just to slowly build more. It's just that the entire time, just slowly building in. And then I also faded in a tripled, so you got the first riff, doubled it, and then I've tripled it here with a little bit of a fade in. I decided to add this little low, deep piano orchestral setting sound. Then here I went to C and E flat, so the minor third. So it was originally root note, then it became the C, then the minor third, then the C minor chord, C, E flat, G. That holds down, and I've got a bunch of reverb and delay on that. So as that goes away, you still hear it, and that's playing through as the full riff comes back in. All those little things just kind of help the dynamics become a little bit louder, a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier. Back here to our third verse, we've got our Telecaster licks that I double tracked. Got a bit of delay on that. There it is. And I also added, because they slide out, they slid out like that. I slid into this next part, which is the Telecaster rhythm. It's really scratchy and tinny and sounds really, really, really good when you pair that with the fullness of the humbuckers. Especially when I do that. Go crazy at the end there, just like I matched with the little lead bit here, which I'll show you now. So each of these are panned differently. First one's far left, then far right, then you just go left, right, and then this last one here I doubled and centered. Bunch of reverb on those. We have that together with the rhythm from the Telecaster. Center and double. With that Telecaster up the top here, it sounds really crazy, and I think sounds good. There we go, all done. Now I can give you a little bit of a demo of the third verse into the build-up. I really like the drums. Delay isn't too heavy, so that's good. Slowly just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then we've got our outro like this. This being my first attempt at making a project of this size, I'm actually really happy with the results. I don't know if I've said that enough, but I think the song sounds great. It's perfect for what I need it for, and I've actually got a few ideas of things that I can do to explore what we've done in this video. So talk about my DAW, also do little tutorials on how to record guitars and bands and how to set up a studio and all that kind of good stuff. Please let me know what you think of the song. I hope you like it, because I really do, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for a music video so you can see the final product. If you've got any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later.